Jet Setting Jen here. Today we're back for another honest review because you guys are loving these honest reviews, which I am also loving because I love to give honest reviews on really anything travel related. But today we're specifically talking about celebrity cruise lines. So, no, we're not talking about a specific ship. We're more focusing on the experience. So, what kind of experience are we expecting on celebrity cruise lines? And is it worth you going on yourself? So let's get into it. Okay, so as always, we're going to start with some pros of doing celebrity cruises. So I've done about four celebrity cruises at this point, all different ships, but for the most part, mostly in the older class. So as I said, we are not focused on actual cruise ships in this category. We're really just looking at the overall experience. And what I will say is, first of all, their ships, even the older ones, are extremely well taken care of. So some cruise lines, you'll go on those, and if they're older, the ships really show it. They show their age, they're broken down, they're not very nice. The decor is outdated, the staff is annoyed that they have to work on that ship. And what I will say is, on Celebrity, I did not see that experience. The ships are modern and elegant, refurbished, even if they're older. Obviously, the newer Edge class ships, if you've been on those, like the Edge, the Ascent, the Beyond, the Excel, these ships look beautiful. I am going on one soon, so I'll report back to you guys once I have that experience. But generally speaking, they definitely have some beautiful new innovative spaces. If any of you have been on it and you've seen the magic carpet, I've only seen it in different types of videos or ship explanations of what the additions are for this new class. So if you do, please share in the comments below. Love to hear all about that because that does seem really amazing and I can't wait to see it for myself. But what I will say is, even the staff on the older ships are happy. They're excited to be there. They're friendly. They're helpful. They're genuinely nice. And it's not that other cruise lines do not have nice or helpful staff, right? Of course. We're going to have nice, helpful staff on a lot of different cruise lines across the board because just like anything, you're going to have people that are happy to do their jobs and that are not, right? But generally speaking, I did not come across any employee on any celebrity ship that was unhappy. So I would say that to me is definitely a pro. They're taking care of their staff, and we love to see that. Also, their loyalty program is quite good. Their retreat, which of course is like a small dedicated ship within a ship. This is a concept for like suite guests. They're paying more. They're getting a more high end and exclusive experience. They have a private adult only sanctuary. They have private butlers or concierge dining spaces. So if that is an experience that you're looking for, they are definitely like top of the line for that kind of experience. Also, generally on their ships, even though they allow children, I feel like you don't see a ton of children. And if you do, they're usually like that 10 to 16-year-old age range that are more well behaved. Maybe they've cruised before. Maybe mom and dad have taken them on a bunch of vacations. So I definitely can't say that I see a lot of like really young kids or like screaming children, which you definitely see on some other mainstream cruise lines. So I want to, throw that out there. Definitely more adult focused, as I said, quieter, relaxed atmosphere. Definitely the dining, I think, is a little bit better than some of the other mainstream ones. Obviously, their buffet is quite good. I would say not necessarily better than other cruise lines, unless we're talking about like Royal Caribbean, which is actually their sister company. But I would say if you're on older ships for like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Princess, I definitely see a difference in the food quality versus like newer ships. Whereas I don't really find that with Celebrity, generally speaking. So definitely superior food and just overall dining experience. But as far as main dining, I will say their main dining is very, competitive to the other mainstream players, especially like a Princess. I would say a Celebrity and a Princess as far as like not only their dining, but also their service and also just kind of how they operate, less kids, longer, more itinerary focused trips that, an older age bracket is taking. I mean, this is really the market here. Now, let's talk about some cons because, of course, we're going to have some, right? They do have a slightly higher cost and price point, especially if we're looking at a comparison of like a Royal Caribbean or a Carnival or an NCL to like, for example, a Princess or a Virgin, which might cost a little bit more for the same type of amenities. Also, you have limited casual dining options. So they don't have a ton of like that quick service feel, which some other lines do kind of focus more on the quick service feel, especially if we're looking at like Virgin Voyages. If you've watched my Virgin Voyage video and you heard all about how they have kind of a canteen set up on the Lido deck, it's not necessarily buffet, but it is quick service and there's many options to choose from. So Celebrity like does not have that option. But I would say what they don't make up for in that, they definitely have in like their sanctuary space. I really enjoy their sanctuary space. I also really enjoy Princess's sanctuary space. If you watch my video on Princess, I really, really, really do love that. I did see some mixed reviews about an inconsistent experience on older ships. I will say I have had that experience before on other cruise lines, but not on Celebrity. So, my takeaway for you guys here is that if we're looking for something that is mainstream, still maybe 2 to 5,000 guests, definitely still in an affordable price point that has a normal cruise experience with a double dining time of like, 6 and 8, and not a lot of kids, and more longer itineraries than 7 days. I would say like their sweet spot's probably like 9 to 12 days, and you can get some very competitive fares on Celebrity. I personally think Celebrity is a really great option. And the only thing that I would really watch out for is the nickel and diming. And when I say that, I'm talking specifically about the beverage package and the Wi Fi package. So for me, these were the number two, or really the two biggest downfalls of Celebrity cruise lines. And I really hope that they take this to heart and make some changes on this, because a lot of other cruise lines are really looking at this and realizing that people care less maybe about a beverage package, but they do really care about Wi-Fi. Like Virgin Voyages is a great example because they give you free Wi-Fi included in your cabin fare. Of course, they are kind of a little bit of a higher price point than Celebrity, and their ships are new. So like that's, all their ships are new versus like Celebrity, they only have one class of ships that are like what I would call brand new. But what I'm really saying here is as a cruise, they're a great option. I definitely think they could get a better rating from me if they would make their Wi-Fi more affordable. To get Wi-Fi for a whole cruise is like minimum 150 bucks, and that's for one device for one person for like a 7 day voyage. And if you're like, oh, I don't really know if I need Wi-Fi, I'm not going to get it, and then you get on board. There was like one itinerary that I did that had one sea day, and I thought, oh, maybe on a sea day I'll get it because Princess has Wi-Fi for like 20 bucks for a day if I just decide to do it last minute. Oh no, not Celebrity. It's like $50 for a day. And come on, Celebrity Cruise Lines, that is absolutely ridiculous. And you know what you're doing. So, all of us cruisers are definitely looking at you for that. And we're really hoping that they make some changes with that. The beverage package is also extremely, extremely overpriced. And obviously, a lot of cruise lines are doing this now. So, we do need to take that in consideration. But what I would say is from that standpoint, if beverage package and Wi-Fi doesn't matter to you, then Celebrity is really a great option. Or if you're willing to pay more for example, like the retreat, and maybe you have the beverage package and the Wi-Fi included in your price point, then it's not such a big deal. But what I will say is if you're a budget traveler or you're really just trying to get a deal, you can definitely get a deal on the cruise fare itself, but you really have to think about all the costs of your vacation. Okay. So that's what I would say. Otherwise, we're giving Celebrity a 2 thumbs up because I did love my experience on there. I do love the sanctuary. I do love the staff. The food was also quite good. And overall, their itineraries are great. And so are their ships, even their older ones. So, see you guys next time. If you have any questions, drop in the comments below or send me an email to my business email. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you next Friday. Hey guys, as always, thanks so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. And if you guys have any questions or got some value from this video, please go ahead and leave a comment, DM me, or feel free to email me at my business email in the description box below so we can work together. See you next Friday.